Can you see the PDF, please? A blank page, but at least you can see the page, right? Perfect. So I hope all of the other participants are also actually live in the class rather than just logging in and hovering around doing here and there some other stuff. So can I have endorsement from all? Thanks for the feedback, Huma. I have the feedback from Jeffen. I have the feedback from Robin. Some feedbacks are missing. Uh, Thanks, Simbarshi. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Ravi, you are left. So Ravi, are you there? Uh, Perfect. So you guys can see my screen. You guys, I'm audible to all of you guys. I can see Norman has also joined. So normal, just to confirm, you can see my PDF. You can see, I am audible to you perfectly, right? Okay. So again, like I said, I welcome you all on the ATX for September 2024 exam session. Thanks for the feedback, Norman. The ATX for September 2024 is based on Finance Act 2023. The Finance Act 2023 is applicable for June 2024, September 2024, December 2024, and March 2025. So this examination, this Finance Act is applicable for these four exam settings. At times, students do normally ask me a question, how much is the linkage between the TX and the ATX? So just to give you a reference, in ATX, the complete TX is there. So whatever is in the TX is there in ATX, is there in complete TX is there in ATX. However, there are some new areas and which I would say there is no defined statistics that's my own personal experience. The complete TX is approximately 70% of ATX. Approximately 30% are new areas. So what are new areas? New areas are not something they are defined, new areas covered. No, they are synchronized, integrated, merged, whatever you name it, into all of the topics. So I will briefly touch base all of the topics and will guide about the new areas. But just to give you a reference, approximately 30% of the ATX is somewhat which you have not covered in TX, and whatever you have covered in TX comprises 70% of ATX. And you know, I don't know whether you are aware of this fact or not. TX book is the thickest book in fundamentals. In continuation, ATX Kaplan book is the thickest book of ACCA. And now I hope you can understand why it is the thickest book of ACCA. Can I ask all of you, just for my own reference purpose, nothing else, when you guys attempted, those who have joined, when you guys have attempted your TX examination, if you recall the attempt, that would be great. Request to like everywhere is requested to provide feedback. That's good, Homa. Oh, that's nice, Jeffen. That's great, Robin. Um, mhm. Perfect, perfect, Huma. So, Ravi, Sambharshi, Norman, you three are left. Norman, Ravi, Sambharshi. Um, if you don't mind sharing, Jeffen, can you please share why you got the exemption? Like, which route you are following, uh, which lead to exemption from TX?
So I was doing MBA in International Business and Finance.
That's nice.
Yeah, so they gave 9 paper exemption for ACCA papers.
Oh, that's nice. So it means in your international finance, you must have covered taxation directly, indirectly by any means,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes, yes.
That's great. Great. Okay, good to hear. Ravi, Norman, Sambharshi, only you left. So I have the feedback from most of you guys. So the reason being, I'm just asking this question again, nothing in particular, that was just for my own information. Basically, look, this is something which you guys have studied, right? So while studying TX, sorry, while studying ATX, these concepts need to be these concepts need to be brushed up. Sorry. You know, one very interesting fact based on that TX and ATX tutor, one beauty with the one beauty with the TX syllabus is once we attempted the exam, once we attempt the exam, we forgot 50% of the things, what was there in the TX. And once we get the positive result, rest of the 50% things are gone from the mind. Unlike financial reporting, financial management audit, these kind of things, law, uh, accountant and business, these kind of things are something which remains in our discussion. So that's, a kind of the bad scene for the taxation related subject. Like it has a very short term memory from the student perspective. So, Jeffin, exactly, I agree, and that is the point I is just referring. So again, but the point is, it's not like you are not aware of those concepts. You are aware. We just need to brush up those concepts, right? There is there are some of the new concepts. These one new areas. These are the things which we really need to learn, right? We for these things we need to brush up. We need to revise the concept. For these areas, we need to learn them. So this is not this does not require revision. This requires learning. So there is a difference between learning and revision. Learning means uh, it requires more effort from my side, from your side to absorb, to digest, and and to to revise. It requires efforts, but not as such as much effort because you are like, for example, um, the basic mathematics, the basic algebra, the basic science, let's suppose, all of us are aware. It's simply, it's, it's simply, it's not in our mind. It's simply, we forgot from our mind. but we are aware of those concepts. So just we need to brush up, and very honestly, being father of three daughters, whenever I am teaching or guiding to my daughters while learning their books, it gives a great revision. Oh, that was like that. And what it simply is, it is out of our mind. Well, continue. Um, okay. With respect to textbook, with respect to revision kit, I prefer the Kaplan textbook and revision kit. Textbook, with respect to textbook, I do not expect much to study. Rather, the textbook should be primarily used to practice. What sort of practice I'm referring to? In the textbook, there are test your understandings. There are examples. There are illustrations, which I highly encourage you guys to solve. And in addition to textbook, you guys can refer the study hub as well for this purpose. Um, I'm taking a pause. Any questions so far from your side? Okay, so one thing, just to share with you, uh, the recordings and my own personal teaching approach to ATX is always on the assumption that you guys have forgotten everything relating to text. So none of the lecture, none of the class would be on the assumption that this is what we have covered in TX, so that's fine, move ahead. No, all of the topics are on the assumption like you guys uh, didn't aware of anything, and we are building from the scratch, from the zero, each and every topic. Um, I'm still on pause. So any question from anyone? You know, Simbashri, Simbarshi, this is, the realistic assumption which I always take, because I do recall approximately more than a decade when probably I was teaching for the first time the ATX. And when I started on the other way around assumption, I struggled each and every time, because at times the students do recall, at times the students do not recall. So for me, being a tutor, uh, making your own ground would become difficult. So it's important for me to make my own ground so that it's become easy battle for me and for you guys. Any question? Anything? Any comment to add? If no, uh, can I move forward? No question. Fine. Moving forward. Uh, let's look into the ATX syllabus, or you can say course content. In the ATX syllabus or course content, the first topic, I'm not writing in a sequence, I'm just putting the names in name of the topics and bullet. One topic is income tax. I hope you guys bit recall about the income tax, other income, savings income, dividend income, uh, tax rates, etc., etc. So in the income tax topic, there are some new topics, concepts, or you can say other way around. There are some of the areas where there is more in-depth discussion. So in TX, there was a particular full stop point. Like that's it. If you want to go in more depth, that's out of the scope of the TX. But in ATX, there are more in-depthness in the topics as well. Just tell me via yes or no. Do you recall this name? Capital gains tax. Do you recall this topic? Capital gains tax. Yeah, that's nice. So in capital gains tax, there are also some new topics, some new concepts, some new in-depth discussions. In addition, just to give you a reference, do you recall in capital gains, there were some reliefs as well? Can you name any few of those reliefs for me, please? Any few of those, like whatever you remember, whatever you remember, the name of reliefs. That's nice, Robin. Gift holdover. Hamna, great. BADR, investor relief. And, sorry, Huma. Simbarshi, please do share. So just share with us what was your variant of the paper. Norman, great. Entrepreneur relief. That's correct, Simbarshi. So rollover concept is also in UK text, by the way. You referred your paper variant. So what was your paper variant? Oh, that's great. So in UK, we have the similar concept of rollover relief. I'm not very much sure how much it differs from your concept of rollover, but at a high level, yes, the similar, from the name perspective, at least I can say, the similar concept exists. In TX, one of the limitation of the reliefs is, in a given situation, you normally think of any one relief in a given situation, right? In ATX, there is a very interesting concept after this discussion of reliefs, which is interaction between different reliefs. Interaction between different reliefs. For example, just to give you an example, for example, there is a scenario where we meet the conditions for relief number one, and in a similar situation, we meet the conditions for relief number two. What is the most suitable relief in this situation? Relief number one or relief number two? Which one is more suitable and why? So this is something which was not in the TX, and this is something which you will frequently observe in ATX, because in TX, the basic ideology was about learning the reliefs, right? Here we are going to apply them practically, and to apply them practically means, for example, in my practical life, it is quite possible I do meet the condition for 3 reliefs at given situation. Now, out of those 3 reliefs, which relief I should opt? Relief number 1, relief number 2, relief number 3, and why I should opt for any one, whatever you guys are advising. Why should I go for that? So this is a very practical kind of discussion, and very honestly interesting discussion if you are clear with the reliefs. And if you are not clear with the reliefs, that would become a nightmare, honestly. Inheritance tax. So with respect to TX, how you gonna rate this topic? Easy, difficult? moderate, one feedback for easy, one feedback for moderate. So at least I have the comfort that it was not hard. I'm fine with easy, I'm fine with moderate, but it was not hard at least, right? In ATX, in ATX, this is okay. 50% of 50% of so whatever you have studied in TX, that is only 50% of ATX. Let me write it in this way. TXIHT is 50% of ATXIHT. Of this IHT itself as a topic, I hope not good to hear. So a lot new topics over here. That's the crux summary of this. Do you recall this topic? Value-added tax, abbreviated as VAT. Homa, we can discuss your queries uh, towards the end. Okay. VAT. VAT is approximately same as TX. There are only 4 new concepts in VAT. Only 4 new concepts. So that's a very low quantum with respect to the changes. After that, another very interesting area, that is corporation tax. So if I ask your feedback with respect to this topic, corporation tax, was it easy? Was it difficult? So 50-50 or moderate. Whenever you guys says it was moderate or 50-50, it gives me a bit comfort factor that at least you guys are not classifying it as hard. In ATX, the corporation tax has more in-depth calculations. Plus, I understand, except of one, everybody belongs to Finance Act 22 or earlier. So every one of you studied your basic taxation syllabus in Finance Act 22 or earlier, right? So in this topic itself, there are major changes in Finance Act 2023. So obviously we will be studying this topic with respect to our new Finance Act, i.e. not with respect to old Finance Act, because this topic has a lot of major changes in it. So second, uh, it has some in-depth calculations. It has too much focus on groups. I don't know whether you guys recall or not. There was a very important discussion in ATX by the name of group losses group, capital gains group. It was not very much examinable. So we did not emphasize a lot on this, very honestly. But in ATX, it has a great emphasis. So too much focus on group aspects. Apart from these, apart from these, like I just pointed out 5 topics which were already part of the PX. Apart from these 5 topics, there is one more topic which is very important in ATX, and that's integral feature, integral component of the ATX is overseas aspects. I don't know whether or not, I don't know. You guys recall the concept of residency or not? Remember, whether a person is UK resident or not, how do we determine? First, auto non-residency test, auto residency test, and the third was ties test. Do you recall? Auto non-residency, own conditions, auto residency, own conditions, ties test. We look for ties. There was a table, previously resident, not resident, how much days is spent in the UK. Then we used to determine residency with respect to that. That's fine. If you do not remember, that's perfectly fine. Now, important thing is if a person is UK resident, he or she is supposed to UK income tax and capital gains tax. And if not UK resident, the person is not supposed to pay UK income tax and capital gains tax. Full stop. Now the discussion is more in depth. For example, a person does not live in UK, whether he or she is supposed to pay UK taxes or not. So this kind of discussion will be done in overseas aspect, where we have to discuss this topic with respect to income tax. We have to discuss this topic with respect to capital gains tax. We have to discuss this topic with respect to inheritance tax. We have to discuss this topic with respect to corporation tax. We have to discuss this topic with respect to, one thing in our practical life, risk management life, is called as cross-cutting. So overseas aspect is something which has a cross-cutting aspect. Like if you notice, this topic is not limited to income tax or not limited to any one topic. It has implications on every topic. And considering the globalization these days, this is very important to understand this. Because a person, for example, a person is, let's suppose, basically Pakistani, and he is working in UAE, UK, or Canada, or any other country. So what will be the tax implications on that country where the person is working? And what are the tax implications on Pakistan, let's suppose? So this all kind of discussion will be covered in the overseas aspects. In addition to all that, there are some other miscellaneous topics which includes and last, not the least, ethics. So interestingly, ethics in ATX is not something which is new. No, ethics is same as you have studied in your F1. It is same as you have studied in audit and assurance, F8, and any other professional paper. Like, if I do recall, what are the fundamental principles of ethics? Integrity, objectivity, confidentiality, professional competence, and due care professional behavior. All these principles are here. What are the threats to the ethics? Integrity, independence threat, advocacy threat, self-interest threat, self-review threat, familiarity threat. All threats are there. What's changed over here? What's new over here? Only the important thing over here is your capacity to think would change. Previously, your capacity in F1, your capacity was, let's suppose, a director or CEO. In F8, in audit and assurance, your capacity was of, let's suppose, the auditor. But here, your capacity would be the tax partner. Your capacity would be tax consultant. Your capacity would be tax advisor. So the principle remains same. The capacity to think would change only. Again, taking a pause. Any questions so far from your side? Any question, please? That's a very good question, Simbarshu. How much theory in ATX? Is it 50-50 or somewhat with respect to change proportion? And just asking, Simbarshu, uh, just asking, okay, before I respond to your question. Are you done with SBR? Just asking. Or how many of you are done with SBR? No? Okay. Japan, good. Robin, noted. My best wishes are with you, Simbarchi. Best wishes for you for upcoming result. We are good to know this. So those who are done or those who are attempted, good to know, Ravi. Those who are done and those who have attempted. A sweet and that's nice. So a sweet and simple question. SBR, while studying, is it supposed to be calculative based paper or is it supposed to be theoretical based paper while studying? While studying, it's supposed to be a calculative paper, right? But from examination perspective, is it really calculative or is it a theoretical type? So this is with this Priya. I hope this is with respect to examination, right? So, this is a sort of mismatch between a study versus the examination. like SBR while studying, it's more of a calculation base, but from examination perspective, it's more of a theoretical base. I agree. I do recall my time of SBR. I attempted SBR approximately from today, I would roughly say 15 years back, approximately. So on that time, I do recall, I had my calculator with me, and I do recall this thing as well. In consolidation, we have the question of cash flow, consolidated cash flow, which was of 35 months. And after those 35 months of consolidated cash flow, for rest of the 60 marks, 5 marks for ethics, for rest of the 60 marks, I didn't even use the calculator. I didn't use the calculator. All was theory. So, but the theory is not SBL, or it's not audit, or it's not performance measurement type of theory. It's basically the explanation of calculations. Agreed? How you calculate it, how you arrive at it. The theoretical is on that front, right? In the same way, ATX exam has a theoretical component, but theory is not of audit, it's not of performance measurement type of theory. It's basically more of explanation of calculation. How you calculate, what are the conditions to qualify for this relief. Explain with calculation. So explain means you have to explain and support the explanation with calculation. So with respect to exam, very honestly, to conclude, with respect to exam, the more area is towards theory. But from a study perspective, the more area is towards calculation, less is towards the theory. But the majority area in the examination, it's not the weird kind of theory, allow me to use the word. It's not weird kind of theory. It's basically the explanation of calculation which we perform. We are most welcome, Siddharth. Okay, the next discussion is about the paper format. Total, technical, professional. Section A. This paper is based on two sections, Section A and Section B. In Section A, there is one question. In Section B, there are two questions. Section A is of 50 marks. Section B is of 50 marks, each divided into two questions, so 25 each. The 40 technical marks, 10 professional skills, 25, 20, and 5. So the total of 100 is 80 technical and 20 professional. And in this 40 technical, so this 10 is separate. In this, there will be 5 marks on ethics, which I was referring over here, and professional skills. This is professional skills. This is something which we will cover towards end, which we will cover for sure, how to grasp these professional marks. Previously, these marks used to be only 4 marks, but now they are 20 marks. So a much focused area now. Okay. Um, I'm done with the basic discussion. Uh, so my discussion is now entering towards the last phase for today's class, which is about this session in particular. So till yet we were discussing about ATX in particular. Now the discussion would be ATX over here and how you guys have to approach. So, well, for ATX, there are 3 recorded lectures which you guys have to follow. And some of you have started following it. That is really much appreciated. Second thing is, uh, I will be scheduling your weekly class. And in this, there are 2 objectives of this weekly class. The first objective is to, to, to address your queries relating to that topic. And the second objective is to practice the exam kit related area. But exam kit would be done once we are done with the queries. Okay. And this is the planner which you guys are supposed to follow. So the week for me, for this planner purpose, the week end date is Saturday. Then we will be having our class on Saturday at this time. So for example, in week 1, you guys are supposed to cover capital gains tax. So today we are at 15th June, 14th June. The classes would be on Saturday at 6:30 p.m. All timings are in PST. 6:30 week 2. You guys are supposed to cover all of the recordings of inheritance tax. In week 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's complete 8-week planner. You can say topic, topic, topic. And if you notice in this 8th session, we are going to discuss ethics, planning, plus professional norms. And after this, I will be scheduling your revision classes, exam question practice classes, somewhat on 17th. Just to give you a reference, I suggest till this time to make a practice from your textbook or study hub. Do not touch base the example. From this time onwards, so this time means from this date onwards, you guys are advised to start the example. And even if you start your exam kit on 10th, your paper would be somewhat on 5th or 6th of September. 25 days are pretty much fine to complete the example. Norman, so let me note this as an action item for me. Exam kit, textbook, link. Okay, so I have noted this. We'll upload it in a shared folder and we'll share with you. Okay. Further, your live weekly class will be recorded and shared. Okay. PDFs will also be available. So the PDF which I am annotating right now. That would also be available. So nothing to worry around. Mhm. Okay, so are you guys clear with the planner? I would be following this planner to discuss the query session. So for example, we will be meeting next on 22nd June at 6:30 p.m. to discuss the queries relating to capital gains. Then in sorry, then on 29th June for inheritance. Then on 6th July for income tax. And please, I am human being. If there is any issue on my end due to which I'm not able to take the class on this time, I will be rescheduling it to Sunday. But for sure, I am giving a surety that there will be one weekly live query session. Robin, for sure. So I will take the snapshot of this and will share in the group. Nothing to worry. And like I said, I will put the PDFs and your exam kit in a shared folder and will share the link to the folder with you guys in the group. I hope that would work. So, anything in particular so far, please do let me know. Anything, any one of you want to ask? Else, I just want to make a last discussion. Oh, that's a good question, Sambharshi. So, Sambharshi, for assignment, there are, in some of the instances, there are some questions which I have advised you guys during the session to pause your recording, attempt it at your own, and then continue watching the recording. So this is the way, like I do realize your concern and that this is something which was in my mind while recording the lecture. And that's why I approached it in this way. Like a student should pause their recording, do attempt this question at their own and continue the recording so that they will be able to get the correct solution as well, along with the lecture. And in addition to that, if you guys and if I both feel necessary, like in any particular topic, you guys need more practice. I will share further practice questions with you, which you guys can share with me once you guys are done with those questions. Just to share one thing, and again, there is one last discussion from my end is still pending. At the moment, I'm primarily responding to your queries. One thing, the idea behind keeping this live query session, this exam kit session is at times I do feel a disconnect in the online lectures between myself and you guys, the students. So that's why I keep this weekly query session so that I remain in touch with you guys and so that we can maintain the interaction. Otherwise, and I would be in a bit position to track your progress with respect to the syllabus. Otherwise, very honestly, I don't have any oversight on the uh, on the study status of the students. So that's why I'm keeping this live query session. Importantly, this is for you guys. Please try to adhere with the planner uh, so that we can make effective use of these query session, and we are able to solve the exam kit related questions in the query session. Any further thing any one of you want to ask? Else, a last discussion from my side, please. But there is something which I want to discuss in last. And before that, I want to hear all of the thoughts from you guys. Anything from your side? Any one of you? Anything like to ask, want to clarify?
The
And
video lectures,
sorry, yes, please.
yeah, the video lectures in the website, it is based on Finance Act 22, right?
So I missed who is asking. So Jeffin, this is very honestly I referred twice or thrice that there is one discussion which I want to keep towards that, and this is exactly your question is towards that uh, discussion. So anything other than this point, anything. So this is something which is in my radar, and I personally want to discuss considering this is your orientation class. So lectures, uh, Jeffin, just one more minute for this question to answer. So this is a question from your side. One of your fellow raised this concern in the WhatsApp group as well. And even if you not touch base, if even if your friend not raised this in the group, I would have discussed at my own. So no more question. Okay, let's have a discussion on this one. So with respect to recorded lectures, the lectures are based on FA 2022. And if I'm not wrong, either in one topic, the lecture is based on Finance Act 2021. Let me tell you why I have not updated them. So, you know, for recording a lecture, the the lecture which you see is the output hours. Before that, we have to make our homework to make effective utilization of our time. The lectures which are not updated are only ones where there are very nominal changes. Nominal changes as in, for example, I'm just giving you an example. For example, if with respect to capital gains, in Finance Act 22, the annual exemption used to be 12,300. In Finance Act 2023, the annual exemption is now 6,000. Apart from this, there is no change in the overall capital gain. This is the only change. Okay. And let me tell you one more change. One change, for example, with respect to residential property, you are supposed to submit the tax in 30 days. Now you have to submit the tax in 60 days. This is the only change in 8 hours of video lectures, output video lectures of capital gains. Very honestly, for these two changes, which I can discuss, let's say in 5 minutes, or 10 minutes, or 15 minutes, it's very difficult for me to spare 8 hours of output time for this. I don't know whether any one of you get the chance to look for income tax or not. Income tax is the topic which contains, if I'm not wrong, 45% of your textbook. 45% of your textbook. It approximately, if I'm not wrong, contains 24-25 lectures with average duration of 45 minutes. There are only 5 to 6 changes in that topic. Only 5 to 6 changes. And for that 5 to 6 changes, for me to spare all of that time, that's very difficult for me to manage, very honestly. That's why in every video recording, in every topic, the first lecture explains the changes in the recorded version versus the current finance act. The annotated notes are, sorry, the notes are based on the current finance act. You can make the amendment, like with respect to the first class, you can make the amendment by solving your own question. For example, like I said, if you are looking for capital gain, where there is annual exemption to be used, you can use the annual exemption of 6,000. Why not? Instead of 12,300. Having said that, like I said, I don't know whether you guys noticed or not, while explaining, I was like, in capital gains, there are major changes. I did mention that, right? I did mention. So do have a look. There are major changes in Finance Act 2023. Since in this particular topic as a whole, in this topic as a whole, there are major changes. So that's why I cannot refer continuously in this topic. That's why there is no refer. So this topic is completely based on Finance Act 2023. For other topics, I just keep referred this used to be, this is now, move on. And if within any particular topic, there are major changes, so we have covered that. So for example, in VAT, there is one major change with respect to the Finance Act. So I not referred into my changes video. I embedded that in my normal video lecture. So again, it depends upon the change. So if the change is nominal, which is in my view, can be managed, I not touch base to that particular area of recording at all. But where I personally feel that no, this cannot be done, there are major changes in that particular area, I re-recorded them. So that's it with respect to the recording front. So Jeff and Ravi, this discussion mainly to you, it's for everyone, but mainly to address your queries because you two guys raised this concern. Happy to hear any thoughts. And if it's still any confusion, please do raise it in your live query session. Ravi, I hope you're there, right? So is it fine? So are you, and please do respond me genuinely, are you okay with this? Or still are you struggling? The word is literally struggling with this. Great. You know, the reason being I asked this thing is, and let me tell you one very honest thing, why I have worked on this approach rather than re-recording it. Because the Finance Act changes we got in a summarized manner somewhat in the month of Feb or somewhat in the month of mid-Feb till I recall. From the mid-Feb, we first have to update. The first step for me is to understand the change, to digest the change. Then second step to update the notes. The third step to re-record, to update the notes. And along with the classes, if you recall, in the month of March, the holy month of Ramzan, plus my own office related commitments. So it's very difficult to manage the time. But so this is somewhat a middleware which I found to be most appropriate to execute. So I'm done with all towards from my side for the first being orientation class. Anything you guys want to ask? Robin, while referring to the planner, I hope you just mean this screenshot, right? We'll share that in the group. Priya, the answer is yes. So the updated notes are there. Updated notes, unannotated, not annotated, unannotated. So the file, like I hope you understand, unannotated file would be there, updated one. Can I ask one more question to all of you, those who are here? How many of you guys are full-time student and how many of you guys are working? That's just by the way question. Like, there was a concept of KYC, uh, know your customer, So that was just to knowing you guys, nothing else. That's good, Huma, good to know this. That's nice, Jeff and Priya. Sambarshi, that's great. Work is work. For me, work matters. Part-time, full-time is secondary. That's nice, Robin, Ravi. So I hope all of you guys answered. Anyone left? Norman, you left. So probably, if I'm not wrong, this should be my first class where majority, in fact, approximately all of the guys are working. I really appreciate your efforts that you guys are working, plus managing your study as well. Try to make best use of your time. Please structure yourself, organize yourself, make your own schedule. Keep some time, like obviously work is something which cannot be avoided. Uh, After your work, keep some time daily to study. Keep a handsome amount of time towards the weekend to study. Uh, it's just a matter of 2 months where you need to work hard. Inshallah, and my best wishes are from today. The ATX will be yours in September 24th. So, any further questions uh, from your side, or is it good to say goodbye? Meet you next week. I understand, Simbhaji. So take care. Goodbye. Uh, those who are celebrating Eid Mubarak in advance from my side. See you guys on next Saturday. So if you notice, every class is on Saturday. None of the classes on weekday. It's Saturday, 6:30 p.m. PST. Take care yourself. See you guys on next Saturday. Goodbye from my side. Take care.